Hey guys, welcome to your very own astrology channel, and in this particular video we'll be studying about the Gemini Ascendants or the Gemini rising sign, and in particular we would be discussing that what kind of a relationship do these Gemini individuals have with their mother. And the other thing that we would try to reason out in this particular video is that it is normally you must have written in the texts or you must have read elsewhere that that Gemini rising people have kind of a tough time when it comes to the things related to the fourth house in their life. So I would be trying to give a astrological reasoning for the same. But before I give you the reason, give you the authentic or astrological reasoning for the same, we have to study the Vedic chart for the Gemini ascendants. The layout that you can see behind me is typical to the Gemini ascendants, and Gemini rising sign individuals, why they are called so. These Gemini rising individuals are called Gemini rising individuals or Gemini ascendants because Gemini was the sign that was rising from the eastern side of the sky at the precise moment they were born. So it was the Gemini sign that was rising from the eastern side of the sky, from where the sun rises at the precise moment when these individuals were born. That's why the original energy of the Gemini comes into the first house for these Gemini ascendants. And since Gemini is ruled by the number 3, you can see the number 3 present in their first house. And then as we move into the anti-clockwise direction, the number 4 is written into their second house, then the number 5 is written into their third house, then the number 6 is written into their fourth house, and likely as we proceed, we end up with their 12th house having the number 2. And the way we go about analyzing the chart of the Gemini ascendants is by the fact that the original energy of the third house comes into the first house. For the Gemini ascendant. Similarly, the energy of the fourth. Similarly, the energy of the original fourth house comes into the second house for the Gemini ascendants. Similarly, the original energy of the fifth house comes into the third house for the Gemini ascendants. The original energy of the sixth house comes into the fourth house for these Gemini ascendants. And as we proceed, we end up with the 12th house of the Gemini ascendants having the original energy of the second house. So in this particular video, since we are dealing with the mother and that particular reasoning thing that I told you, so we would in particular be studying the fourth house of the Gemini rising individuals. And along with the fourth house, we would also be studying the first house of the Gemini rising individual, since no prediction in astrology or no assessment in astrology can be made without taking into consideration the first house of the horoscope, because first house of the horoscope is the most prominent, is the most powerful house in the zodiac. So it becomes imperative on most powerful house in the chart. So it becomes imperative on our part to take the first house into consideration along with any particular house that we are dealing with. So guys, without wasting any time, let's go. So guys, let's finally start with the fourth house for the Gemini rising individuals. And as you can see in the Vedic layout that is typical to the Gemini rising sign, in this Vedic layout you can see that there is a symbol 6 written into the fourth house for the Gemini rising signs, and we interpret the symbol 6 written in the fourth house of the Gemini rising sign as if the original energy of the sixth house is present into the fourth house. So what do we make out? Of the fact that the original energy of the sixth house comes into the fourth house for the Gemini rising sign? Well, before we decipher out, let us know what the original fourth house in astrology represents. Well, the original fourth house in astrology represents our mother, represents our parents, represents the people of our homeland, represents our physical home, our family atmosphere, represents the luxuries and the conveniences in life. And what is the sixth house? What is the original sixth house in astrology is all about? Well, the original sixth house in astrology is all about diseases, obstacles, challenges, hurdles, competition, sixth house is all about. It is through the it is by looking at the sixth house in somebody's horoscope that we actually decipher out that which particular spheres, that in which particular sphere or area in his life is this person going to face the major amount of hurdles and obstacles, and how he is going to combat with the hurdles and obstacles and overcome the difficulties that he may face in his life. So sixth house tells, so sixth house is a very chaotic kind of energy, and when this chaotic energy, when this very chaotic, very manipulative, very analytical and very professional kind of energy comes into of the sixth house, comes into the fourth house, comes into the fourth house of the of the pure mother, comes into the fourth house of the sensitive mother. What happens is that it causes the Gemini rising individuals to have a very professional and a very formal relationship with their mother. So unlike the Cancer rising sign, who end up getting one of the most purest, one of the most divine, one of the most esoteric, mysterious and enigmatic love of their mother, instead the Gemini rising individuals have a very formal and a very professional relationship with their mother, wherein you can call this a relationship as kind of a very dry kind of a relationship, wherein these people get to talk to each other, but they would talk to each other as in when needed, so that real pure esoteric bond that a mother shares with the individual is missing in case of the Gemini rising individuals. And what is the reason for that? Well, it can have 3 or 4 possible reasons, and one of the reasons for that is that since the original energy of the sixth house comes into the fourth house for the Gemini rising individuals, so the mother of these Gemini rising individuals, like the sixth house personality, she is herself a very logical, very analytical and a practical woman, and so her attitude is like, fine enough, I nurtured this child when he was young. I entertained all his tantrums while he was in the nascent stages, but he is a 10 or 15-year-old individual now, and I shall no longer be entertaining his tantrums. It's the high time that this Gemini rising child of mine gets exposed to the harsh realities that life outside has to offer. It's the high time. Her attitude is like that. It's the high time that he's a grown-up kid now, so it's the high time that this Gemini rising kid of mine starts taking responsibility of his own actions. It's the high time that this Gemini rising individual or kid of mine shall realize that life is not a bed of roses. Instead, it is about the hurdles and obstacles in life. Life has got both good and bad situations to offer. So basically, she wants her child to get acclimatized to the real philosophy of life, and that is why she kind of alienates herself from the child and let her child explore the world at his own terms. So this Gemini rising individual kind of feels deep inside, although he may not, if you are a Gemini rising individual, I don't know whether you would actually feel so or not, but deep within you, these Gemini rising individuals feel that their mother really wasn't there as a friend. At least as a friend, she was not there when she needed her. Or what else could be the other reason that these people miss on to the purest, the mystic and the divine love of the mother? Well, the reason for that could be that as the sixth house energy is present into the fourth house of the mother, her mother could be a very professionally driven individual, and she could be involved. She could be very much involved in situation wherein she is helping the people, deal with conflicts of some sort, or she is herself engaged in solving the conflicts, in solving the situations that demand some kind of a logical or a practical approach. And high are the chances that the mother of this Gemini rising individual, she can be she can be a doctor. So the mother of this Gemini rising individual can be a doctor, wherein she is helping her patients, to get rid of the diseases her patients might be suffering from. Then what next? Other than the doctor, she could be a social worker. She could be associated with the organizations like UNICEF, UN, UNESCO, UNDP, and the things like that. Or on a smaller scale, she might be associated with the organizations that might be working at the regional or the state level, or she might be associated with the NGOs, wherein she might be herself patronaging, or under somebody belonging to that organization. She must be patronaging the causes. She must be patronaging the causes that are of the social, political, or the economic importance for the society. So if she is a social activist, then she could be raising her voice against issues like crime, like torture the women in the society are subjected to. She might be raising her voice against sex trafficking. She might be raising her voice against early child marriage. She might be raising her voice against shall I say? She might be raising her voice against any issue that is kind of socially pulling the society back. So if she is a social activist, then she might be raising her voice in favor of these social causes. And if she is a political activist, then there could be situations wherein she is raising her voice against the widespread corruption in society, or she could be raising her voice in order to bring some kind of a reformation in the labor laws. For example, I'll give you a very practical example. You all must be aware of the Nike shoe brand, the popular shoe brand in the world, and 10 to 15 years back, the Nike brand was pulled into a lawsuit because these Nike shoes were manufactured in the Vietnamese industrial units, wherein 90% of the people who were engaged in the profession of manufacturing these Nike shoes were actually the women or the children of the age below 15. So and these people who were manufacturing the Nike shoes, that is the women and the children below the age of 15, they were made to work in the most inhuman, in the most pathetic and the bizarre conditions in those industrial setups, wherein these people were exposed to the carcinogenic, cancer-causing rays, and the amount of cancer-causing rays that these women and children were subjected to was actually 10 times more than what the permissible limit for the human body is, as decided by the WHO and the other health standards that work on an international level. So, and not only these people were made to work in such bizarre conditions. Wherein they were not even given the protective gear or clothing that could protect them from the cancer-causing rays. And not only were these children and women treated as slaves in those factories, but these people were made to work at 1/10 of the wages that should have actually been paid to these people. So they were working at the bare minimum wages. So a lawsuit was inflicted upon Nike, and Nike was asked to provide them the protective gear and equipment. Nike was asked to not to hire the children below the age of 18, and Nike had to bring in reformation in the wages that were paid to these individuals who were exposed to these cancer-causing rays. So she could be raising her voice. So she could be involved in the similar situations wherein she might be raising her voice the reformation in the labor laws, so that the labor unions could be given at least, if not more, then they would be given the minimum wages as per the industry standards. So as a political activist, she might be indulging into conflicts of that sort, and if she is an economical activist, she might be patronizing causes. Wherein she might propose a economic, wherein she might herself or under an organization she might propose a model of economic development for the underdeveloped nations or the unprivileged group of people in our own country. So she is basically involved in any situation, in any social, economical or political situation wherein she is dealing with the conflicts, she is dealing with the problems and challenges or hurdles of some sort, and through her knack, aptitude, through her verbal argumentative skills, she is trying to settle down those disputes. And what else? She could be a doctor, she could be a social worker, like I told you. Then she could be a lawyer. Then she could be a lawyer who is fighting cases for the people who have been wrongly alleged, who have wrongly been alleged for something they didn't have an association with. Or she could be fighting the cases for the individuals who have not met justice, who have not met law and justice in society, and she would be taking up the cases of the unprivileged individuals, of the unfortunate, needy individuals who might be poor and cannot avail the services of the lawyer. So as a lawyer, she is kind of rendering her services to the unfortunate and the needy people, and using her argumentative skills, knack and her discretion to get those people get some sort of a justice done to them. What else? Other than the lawyer, their mother could be a working professional. Their mother could be a working professional. She could be into any profession. She could run a business she could be running a business of her own, or she could be working for an organization wherein she is given in charge of the vertical or a project wherein she has to wherein a lot of chaos is involved. So she is given in charge of the projects wherein which demand some kind of a logical or a statistical or some kind of a practical addressal. So if she is working in the HR department of the company, quite likely are the chances. Now the HR department of the company has at least 10 different verticals, but likely are the chances that this particular mother of the Gemini rising sign would be given in charge of the department like conflict management. For some of you who might have done their MBAs or might have got a business administration degree in the HR domain, they might be well aware of the fact that they might be able to understand what I'm really trying to convey. There is a particular vertical in the HR domain that deals with the conflict management, in the organization. So she might be associated with one such department wherein she is using her argumentative skills, wherein she is using her prudency and the discretionary levels to settle down any kind of differences or the disputes between the people working for that organization. or let's suppose if she is associated with the marketing department, then quite likely are the chances that she might be heading a team, or as a part of a team she might be given a task to work on a project wherein she got to find out wherein she is given in charge of the of the project where she is working on a product that miserably failed into the market. So she is basically researching as to what went wrong that led to the complete failure of that particular product in the market. So like the sixth house has to do with the computational and the statistical analysis. So she could be making use of all those computational and the statistical analysis. She could be making use of the statistical tools like SPSS, pie charts, bar graphs, calibration graphs, and she might be conducting research in order to decipher out what exactly went wrong with the product. Was it the fact that something went wrong with the pricing, or was this product was not positioned, or it was not effectively targeted at the customers, or something went wrong with the integrated marketing communications. So she might be using her Mercurian skills of mathematics, Mercurian skills of business acumen, Mercurian skills of statistics in order to research and thereby boost the sales of that product all over again by setting and fixing all those things that earlier went wrong with that particular product. Now we talk to the working professional, and the fifth profession she might be into is likely there are chances that the mother of this Gemini rising individual could be associated, or anybody in the family of the Gemini rising individual. There are high chances that anybody in their family could be associated with military. So since fourth house is the people of that represents the people of our own homeland, and sixth house represents the challenges, the competition. So she herself, or anybody in the family of this Gemini rising sign could be associated with the military, wherein they are safeguarding their nation from the enemies of some sort. So she could be in these particular five professions, wherein she could be a doctor, she could be a social, economic, or a political activist, she could be a lawyer, she could be a working professional, she could be into military. So she could be into all these professions wherein she is day in and day out, she is meticulously and scrupulously nitpicking things and figuring out faults, figuring out what went wrong with a particular situation. She attracts and is forced into situations which are very chaotic, which are very disputed in nature, and she uses the Mercurian verbal and argumentative skills, or she is using the Mercurian skills of the statistical and the mathematical analysis to set those situations, or to settle down those disputes. Now, this could be the possible reason. Since she is engaged in all those professions, it could keep the mother of this Gemini rising individual away from them, and that is the reason that she was not there as a friend for this Gemini rising sign. But she could be engaged in these possible professions, and that could keep her away from these Gemini rising individuals. But if the Lord of the fourth house, that is Mercury, if the Mercury is not well placed in the horoscope of this Gemini rising sign, then there are high chances that instead of solving the conflicts of the other people, likely are the chances that the mother of this Gemini rising sign herself could be facing a lot of conflicts, wherein she might be a diseased person, she might be a bedridden person, because sixth house also represents diseases. So she might be a bedridden person that could keep her away from this Gemini individual, or she could have lots and lots of issues or the bizarre situations in her life that keep her away from this Gemini individual. Or there could be something wrong with the family atmosphere in that case. Or let's suppose there could be a situation wherein the family is poverty stricken, that could demand a Gemini rising individual to go out while he is young enough. He's either forced to, or he himself decides that since he is to financially back up the family, he is to financially support the family, so it is the time for him to step out into that big bad dirty world and face the harsh realities of life. So it could practically be any such situation. But basically what boils down is that these Gemini rising individuals grow up, or you can say they kind of learn what the life is really all about at a very early stage in their life. And like every ascendant has to go through a particular karmic cycle, likely these Gemini ascendants kind of are devoid of the luxuries and conveniences in our life. And luxuries and conveniences in our life is represented by the 4th house in our horoscope. So can you connect the dots? Can you see how true Vedic astrology is? Can you understand that? How am I making the connections here? So, but do you feel that since this Gemini rising individual would not be blessed with the luxuries and conveniences in life, or he would be moved to, or he would be devoid of the financial emotional backing up of the family or the mother, since he doesn't have all those conveniences in our life? Is it the fact that since he doesn't have all that luxuries in his life, he would get ruffled up and he would get all stymied up? No, absolutely not. Instead, these Gemini rising people, God puts them into difficult situations, but at the same time, God doesn't give them the luxuries and conveniences in life, but He gives them everything. He gives them the skill set that they on their own can earn themselves the wealth by which they could earn or they could buy the luxuries and the conveniences that were earlier missing in their life, or that they were not naturally blessed with. So God actually blesses them with the manipulation skills, with the best of the communication skills, with the verbal argumentative skills, with the 3rd house original energy coming into the 1st house for the Gemini ascendants. 3rd house is all about willpower, courage, standing on your own feet, never say die character. So this is the kind of soldier-like energy present in those Gemini air sign individuals that keeps them motivated, that keeps them to have a mental composure, to have the tranquility of mind, even in one of the most inconvenient situations they might actually come across. And you can see that the moon is controlling the 2nd house of the Gemini rising individuals. So the 2nd house has to do with the rational side of the brain, has to do with the logical, has to do with the side of the brain that has to do with the logical and the rational reasoning. And with the planet moon controlling this right side of the brain, these people are kind of unruffled. These people are kind of they are not bogged down by any inconvenient situation in their life. Rather, getting stuck up in the inconvenient situations gives some sort of a pride to these Gemini rising sign, because the sun is the planet sun, the hot planet sun is ruling their 3rd house. So so wherever sun is present, or whichever house sun is ruling, by doing the things related to that house, we kind of get the pride, we kind of get a boost, we kind of give a boost to our ego, by doing the things related to that house. So since Sun is governing their third house of their third house of the third house of taking the entrepreneurial decisions, the third house of standing on your own feet, the third house of inconveniences, the third house where the inconveniences and luxuries of the life might be missing, the third house of the third house of business acumen, the third house of communication. And Sun is a very hot planet. Sun is a planet of leadership. Sun is a planet that can handle any situation. Sun is the planet who is the supreme one, who is at the top-notch position as far as the administrative circle is concerned. So these people have got it all to fix the inconvenient situations they might be stuck in, and it is through their own efforts. Like Cancer sign is naturally blessed with those things, but these people, through their own effort and willpower, they kind of earn those conveniences and luxuries in their life. They kind of earn the luxuries and conveniences through their effort later in life. And again, as I told you that with the original energy of the 8th house present into the 6th house, you can see symbol 8 written in their 6th house. So these people, and I told this fact in the Gemini rising sign part 1, wherever the energy of Scorpio is present, therein you are kind of secretly, you want to move ahead in competition. So these people, and 6th house has to do with enemies, diseases. 6th house also represents a business colleagues. So with the energy of Scorpio coming into the house of colleagues, business, coming into the house of wherein you are working under somebody, whenever this there is the energy of the planet Mars or Sun controlling the 6th house, then these people secretly harbor the desire of moving ahead in competition. Had the energies of the planet like Moon, Venus, Jupiter being present in their 6th house, I would have said that they would do good while they are working under somebody. But since there's a Martian energy present into the 6th house, so these people harbor the desire of moving ahead in competition, and that is why these people do good when they are their own masters, when they are taking the complete responsibility for their own actions. And that is why these people make one of the best entrepreneurs in their life. So guys, we are finally ended up with this episode, and soon we would be taking up another astrological topic. And if you like me for one reason or the other, or you like me for the way I teach, or any other specific reason that you have, then please do subscribe to my channel. This will keep you regularly updated with the feeds, and you would be informed whenever I upload a video next. So on that note, this is your host RISHU signing off. Do try to find out the purpose of your life through astrology. And remember guys, astrology is just a science that is there to help you, like physics, chemistry. It is there to assist you, but just do not leave each and every aspect of your life on astrology, because in the end you are responsible for what you make out of your own actions. So astrology would always be there to help you, and so would be I. But please do keep your spirits high, stay elated, and keep working hard. So take care. Goodbye.